Welcome back, everybody, to our Classic Games Done Quick 10th anniversary special, where we are doing the entirety of our first ever AGDQ event, Classic Games Done Quick. That happened nearly 10 years ago, January 1st, 2010, and we're doing the entire schedule. We're doing all 55 plus hours of it, where we're redoing, every single game, with some new runners and some old runners as well. So we are now getting started with our Metroid block. So we're gonna have Metroid all bosses, and that is gonna be run by yogidamonk. So joined by him is a Nova80 on commentary. So fellas, it's all yours.
Hello, yogidamonk here with a Nova80. Gonna be running the original Metroid on the NES. And I've recently, about a couple of months ago, I got the world record in this. Maybe 2 years back, Metroid McFly did his grind, and he just kind of showed up and dominated most of the categories. And so finally, a year or two later, some of us are catching back up to him. And here we have a Nova who's going to be with me.
Hello.
And I guess we can just talk on the way, and I'll just I'll get started here. In 3, 2, 1, go. Nova, why don't you talk about the different routes and what's been going on with Ridley first versus Kraid first?
Yeah, happy to. So the category that Yogi's running today is the all boss category, which has the requirement that you kill each of the mini bosses, Ridley and Kraid, and then go on to finish off the Mother Brain afterwards. There is no specified order in that, so some runners will choose to go the Ridley first route and others the Kraid first route. And if you're picking up the Ice Beam, the Kraid first route is the dominant route. Most runners with top times would go that way. But in recent developments, we've learned that in the Iceless category, where we skip the Ice Beam, it's actually about the same amount of time either way. So Yogi's recent world record is actually a Ridley first route. But today you're going to be seeing Yogi run the Ridley first route while picking up the Ice Beam. And, there's a lot of really subtle things about this game. It's very much a game of manipulation. So a lot of what you're seeing Yogi do is going to impact enemies later on the same screen, and often enemies in other screens, just so he has favorable patterns to kind of work with as he's going along. And one other thing to point out, he picked up that morph ball early on that's going to let him morph and get into certain spaces, but it's actually a really important item because it allows you to do mid-air jumps, which you'll see him make much use of later on in the Mother Brain room, but also it allows you to do screen wraps, which you'll see him do some of those a little bit later on. And so
he's really old, like me. You might call the morph ball Maru Mari from the manual.
Exactly, which actually means round ball in Japanese. So very descriptive. So Yogi's picking up his first missile tank here, and what that's going to do is it's going to increase his missile capacity by 5. He needs those to get through red doors, which protects certain items like the Ice Beam, which he's headed to go pick up right now. But later on, you'll see him use those missiles for some other tricks. It can be, since we're skipping the long beam, it can be used as a shot across the screen, and it also will kill any killable enemies with just one hit. Another little point to catch here is each of the zone's damage is unique to the zone. So while he's in Brinstar, any hit he takes is going to be 8 damage. But as he goes into other zones, there will be different amounts of damage for anything that happens to hit him during that time.
I just wanted to let you guys hear the beeps. I was pretty low health right there for a second, so just to let you guys know what the beeps sound like.
If you want a good ringtone on your phone to wake up in the morning, the Metroid low health beep is one that will get you out of bed. So Yogi's going to be moving past the ice room space here to pick up the first E-Tank, I believe is the plan. And that's important on marathon runs because while you can do Ridley's Lair without that first E-Tank, going in there with only 30 health, you take 24 damage each hit in there, and it's very risky. So this is a little bit of a safety strat that doesn't add too much time to the run, only about 25 seconds to do this, but very much worth it.
Yeah, the only reason I would consider not picking this E-Tank up is if I had an abundance of health, maybe like 45, 50 health in the Ice Beam wrap room. which is coming up right here. So let me do this wrap. You just hit down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. You kind of have to hit down, or you have to hit up quickly after you hit down every time, or else you'll get stuck in more fall and maybe get stuck in the wall. Also, there's a thing called drifting. I'm a heavy left drifter, so being on the right wall like that, I don't have to worry about it, because if we drift, we just kind of drift off to the left. But if you're on the left, wrapping on the left side of the room, you can drift into the wall left and soft lock.
So Yogi's picking up the ice beam here, which is very handy. It allows him to freeze enemies, which he can use as ledges and platforms to navigate spaces. It is kind of like 50% damage. He's about to do another wrap here, and I'll be quiet during, but this one's a little more complicated. I'll let him do it, and then I'll explain it afterwards, so he can get the audio cues.
We're good. Got it.
Okay, great. So a little bit more movement in the background there, but another little subtle thing, as he was doing that wrap, those rippers, the little fish, keeping those moving in a rightwards direction as he wrapped off the screen actually impact the crawlers in the screen that he'll be going to next, which are called novas. And that'll let him take the top route where they'll be moving out of his way, and it's a little bit quicker route to take.
The big differences in the route so far between this run and the run 10 years ago. One, we skipped the bombs, which could have been used to get the ice beam, but instead we just did the screen wrap to get down there. And the second is that wrap right there that I just did to get to Norfair. If you don't do that one, you have to go all the way left and all the way down and all the way right, and you'll end up in the original missile hallway that we grabbed.
Yep. And so Yogi's moving on to his third wrap here, which is the Norfair wrap. This one's just straight up and down.
No problem. And I like to take a half tile step out of the wall there, just because, you know, I'm a left drifter. When I'm hitting down, up, down, up, down, up, sometimes I accidentally hit left, and you don't want to like scoot into the wall too far. So I like to take that initial half step right out of the wall before we do it there. I just wanted to show you guys what the lava bath looked like there. But I was trying to freeze the ceiling guy there. But sometimes the ice beam is tricky because it'll give you a double shot. Like if you let go of any button while you're shooting, you'll get two shots, and the first shot will freeze and the second shot will unfreeze. So I was trying to make that guy exit the screen moving right as the camera panned him off the screen to set up the ballroom pattern later, 6 screens later. But we're pretty still comfy. This is much more health than I usually have here.
Yeah, so every hit Yogi takes in this area is going to do 24 damage since he does not have the Varia suit. So it can get the ballroom can be a little bit risky. If you take too many hits in there, it can get a little bit sketchy. But like he says, he's pulling a lot more health here than normal routes. And I think we might be on good pattern here, but we'll find out right now. If he takes an intentional bonk here, which he does, that means we're on good pattern. And he'll be able to jump over these and run down Valhalla here with everything moving away from him.
Good old Valhalla. It's my favorite name of it. We're gonna go a little ham here. Normally, if you go iceless, you have missiles here. So this is missileless. And you can use the missiles to clear the way.
And I'd just like to point out that room takes an exceptional amount of practice, and Yogi just did it masterfully, so that was very well done.
A lot of it is pattern-based. We got the double swooper pattern in this room, so that's a pretty comfy one for me. And here comes Ridley, the first mini-boss. We're just going to roll in and do some insane mashing.
So mashing in Metroid is actually a little different than you think. If you're visualizing Yogi slamming away with his thumb, it's actually not that bad. He'll switch to a claw grip here, hold down the B button, and then using his other fingers, other digits, he'll be mashing select and in this case also the left directional button while he's on the ground. And that's going to basically give him 2 shots for every down and up press on those keys. And he looks like a master masher, but don't let him tell you otherwise. It's not that hard.
Don't be fooled. I'm really not a very good masher, but Metroid kind of doubles your mashing. So maybe if I'm 9 hertz, maybe Metroid gives me like 18 hertz. So it looks good, but
and if anyone's wondering how he magically appeared at the start of the zone, by pausing and hitting up A on controller 2, you can initiate a death sequence that will route you back to the beginning of the zone that you're in. So on these elevator transitions, he's pausing and mashing up A on the other controller and start on the first controller, and then he's right back to Brinstar very quickly. That's the same as a death warp, and deaths are allowed in this category. So it's a very quick way to get back to start. You do lose your health.
Oftentimes here, you would go get the ceiling E-Tank before doing trades, maybe in a marathon, but we're going to try without. 30 health is what I'm used to, so it's, I wouldn't say terribly comfy, but a little comfy.
It is a speed run after all, so yeah, take those aggressive strats. Easy game. So Yogi's going to do a little fall here. It's pretty quick left and right movements and through the red door. And this next room, it's going to be a lot of ways you can approach this. He's using his Iceless strats here, as a matter of fact, which is the quickest way through this room, and also pretty safe once you get the hang of it.
I panicked there a little bit, but took care of it. I shouldn't have, because I had the health to take the hit, but I don't know why.
Yeah, we should see some ham strats in this next room too, and this is something Yogi developed also while he was forming his Iceless route. He'll take an intentional damage boost. Oh, he actually missiled it instead of the boost. Very good, and out the other end very quickly. And we're on to Kraid. So Kraid's gonna have 96 health. That'll be 96 shots with the regular shots, or each missile does 4 damage to him. So you want to freeze those spikes on his body, and then just kind of get inside of his spikes and just lay into him.
I threw on the blindfold there. I wasn't really looking at the screen, but now the blindfold's back off. I know we're not on camera, so you'll have to take my word for it. You actually don't have to look right there.
Very nicely done. And very slick pickup on that little E-Tank on the way in to get you healed up and with that extra energy tank. So I think the plan is to pick up the ceiling tank in the next room, which is not a very big time loss at all, and it prevents the need to do Metroid farming later. So it actually is pretty much a break-even strategy at this point.
Yeah, I just changed that today, just from the fear of running out of missiles, which sometimes when rooms spawn in Metroid, the missile count that can possibly drop is 0, and if that happens in the final room before Mother Brain's room, you could get in big trouble and run out of missiles without any visual sort of cue of that actually happen until you just run out of missiles. That's the cue, you run out of missiles.
So Yogi's rocking 399 health now, which is a lot more than he's used to having, so definitely a comfy position.
I picked this route as like, I don't know, something not too hard. I mean, somebody could copy this route and as maybe kind of a beginner's route. I mean, 399 is an absurd amount of health. I hope we don't go through all of it. So.
Yeah, this route played pretty well. Would easily be a sub 17 time to submit. Probably something closer to 1630 or low 16s.
Easily 16 or less. But yeah, more easily minus 17. Sub 17.
All right, so we're making our way onto Turian. So we'll just see a little more movement through Brinstar here. And you'll notice the 2 statues just outside of the entrance to Turian. So Yogi will shoot those statues to activate them, which will make the bridge form, and then he'll be on his way into the last zone.
There's 20 more missiles worth of doors, so we'll hit Mother Brain room at 83, which is a fairly comfy amount. I mean, in any percent, you only have 75. But yeah, we took the ceiling E tank because here now we don't have to farm at all. We can just skip everything.
Yep. And so you're about to see the enemies that this game is named after. These are the Metroids, and they seek to attach to your head and will drain your health. And in this case, Yogi does not have bombs. Bombs are the only way to get a Metroid off of you. So if he were to catch a Metroid here, it's certain death. So he's going to want to avoid that. If anyone's playing the game, if you're planting your feet on the ground and just aim straight up and spam the ice beam, they cannot attach to you, even if they're coming from below or the sides. They'll always get frozen in that scenario. So just a little trick to get you there. Nice little platform off the Rinka there. Rinkas are also kind of an interesting and hated part of this game. They spawn in very specific spots in each room, and they'll move in a direct line to wherever Samus is standing at the time they spawn. So as long as you keep moving, they'll kind of pretty much stay out of your way. But only 3 will be on screen at any given point in time. And if you freeze them, they won't respawn. So if you can get them all 3 frozen, they'll be out of your way, and you can kind of keep moving through safely.
I'll let you take it from here.
Absolutely. So Yogi's gonna be definitely doing a lot of focus in the Mother Brain room coming. There's a lot happening in that room and a lot of lag, and this is one of the instances where the lag can be a little bit helpful, just because there is so much going on. You'll see turrets firing shots at him from the ceiling. Rinka's spawning all over the room, coming at him, and then these Zebetite doors, which are really interesting. They're living doors. It takes 8 missiles to shoot one down. If you do get it killed, it will stay dead even if you die and respawn and come back. But if you don't shoot them fast enough, they do regenerate, and sometimes can take more than 8 missiles. So you do have a minimum missile count for this room is 73 missiles if you do it perfectly. That's very difficult to do. So he's got a little bit of cushion missiles in case something goes a little bit wrong here. You're also seeing him use these morph jumps to kind of move through the top route, which is the aggressive route, a little more dangerous, but definitely a lot faster. And then he's going to do work on the Mother Brain. Mother Brain takes 1 missile for the glass and 32 to kill the brain. So it's 33 missiles total from this point. And you're going to see him make use of some glass strats here, where he rolls forward, gets on the ledge, and then kind of makes his way back and forth. This is a little bit quicker, but a little bit riskier. But with the 3 E-tanks, definitely doable and without too much worry. So you saw him fall into the pit there. That's known as Dan's Pit to the Metroid unit running community. Someone who managed to fall in there quite a lot over the years. Getting out of that, you have to have a Rinka to jump off of when you don't have the high jump or bombs. And just like that, Mother Brain's down, and we're going to see Ryogi do the final climb here. He's using the task strat style climb, where he's just toe-touching the edges of the platform and moving in as direct of a straight line up as possible. The roll jumps are fast, but they're not quite as fast as the toe jumps.
Time.
And that's that. Yeah, very good. Very well done, Yogi.
Thank you. This is my first time running Metroid in a marathon, so I was pretty excited to do it. The Metroid community is really awesome. I run a lot of games, and I've got to say that the Metroid community is one of my favorite communities. And there's been a lot of cool work going on lately with Ridley First Iceless. There's still a lot of room on that. CHX is working really hard on Any Percent, which is he's almost taken over another one of those really amazing old Metroid McFly runs in Any Percent. And we've got some up and comers. We got C Scotty, who's going to be up later in the marathon. I predict that he'll beat my time in this category, and maybe I'll come back and I still have some more time to shave off on Ridley First, but he's Crane first, so we don't really know who's going to end up on top between the 2 bosses. But thanks for having me, and this is my last game of the marathon. And thanks Anova for commentating, and so long for now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Yogi and Anova. So that was Metroid, and we're going to be having Super Metroid up next. So just give us a couple minutes, and we will be back.